Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, morning, wherever you are joining us from. My name is James Bonanno, and I have the pleasure to be joined today by Alex Hogue, an amazing video editor, filmmaker, just an all-around great guy. And Alex, welcome to the chat. I'm so excited to be hosting you again and to be talking about some text-based editing today.
Yeah, super excited to be back with Adobe, and we're gonna have some fun exploring some new features and everything. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we are going to have a blast today. And for those that are joining, Evan, Paco, Sam, the whole gang is here, ready to go. If you are joining us on Behance, make sure to leave some comments for Alex and myself today as we go through Premiere Pro and some of these tips and tricks. If not, if you head over to the Adobe Creative Cloud or the Adobe Live YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe and watch this video as the replay comes out. And for those that are, Umacorn, welcome to the chat. Welcome, everyone. Again, make sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel and follow us on Adobe Live on Instagram if you haven't. There are amazing tips and tricks for all sorts of creators. But today, we're talking Premiere Pro with Alex Hogue. So, Alex, I know you've been on here a number of times. I know you've hosted, you've been a guest. But for those that do not know you and are sort of new to this format, why don't you give us a quick intro of what you do for a living, who you are, and what you're going over today?
yeah, of course, happy to. So we can go ahead and dive into this. I'm just gonna play my reel here while we talk. I'm just gonna keep it muted. This is some stuff I've kind of worked on, but I am a video editor based out in Bend, Oregon, and I've been running my own production business for the last 2.5 years. I do adventure video, documentaries, advertising, all sorts of stuff. Started out making BMX videos in high school, and that kind of transitioned to going to San Diego State, going through their film program there, working several different companies. I'm a huge snowboard fan, so I went out to TGR straight out of college, worked there for a bit, a couple other companies, and then eventually ended up at GoPro for, I think about 7 years or so as a full-time employee. And there I kind of did everything ranging from their user-generated content, a lot of the stuff you're seeing here. I worked on launch videos, advertising campaigns, all sorts of stuff. So that's kind of my history in the video world. And as I said, the last 2.5 years, I've been kind of doing my own thing as a freelancer and running my own business. And I do a lot of the same content, try to focus on that same stuff, constantly working in all sorts of Adobe programs. And yeah, I guess that's about
Awesome.
it on the career side.
Awesome,
On
dude.
the on a personal side, like I said, I'm out in Bend. I love everything that I work on. So I ride dirt bikes, I ski, snowboard, hockey, backpack, all that sort of stuff. And then occasionally I try to keep a website updated, but that's it's been a lost cause.
Yeah,
It's
you
tough to
can't
do
be
and
doing
everything. So
yeah, you can't be doing the website and all. I mean, that reel, I don't remember if you showed that reel last time you were on here or if that's a newer reel, but it's incredible. I feel like the breadth of work that you have, it obviously fits the clients that you're working with, fits your own personal style. So just a lesson in creating the work that you're passionate about for sure.
yeah, thank you. I definitely love to do video, especially stuff that, has a purpose. I did a lot of GoPro for cause stuff and some documentary work and all sorts of stuff. And then also do photography as well here and there. But today, yeah, we'll be working in Premiere and talking about some cool new features that are coming out. So we're going to be kind of exploring all of this together.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, those are the best kinds of streams, right? I feel like both whenever we're on here and we're working through some of these tips and tricks, some of them are new to us as well, and so I'm really excited to see you hop into Premiere. And again, for those in the chat, hey Josh, welcome to the chat. We got Josh Quillen in here. We got a lot of people that are eager and interested to learn from you, Alex, as am I. So whenever you're ready to kick things off, hop in there and let's get started.
Awesome. Today requires Adobe Premiere Beta. So the first question is, how do you get access to that? So everyone should be able to have access if you have Adobe Creative Cloud. Can I go ahead and open up Adobe Creative Cloud? And typically, I think it's on all apps here. If you come on this left side menu to beta apps, let's just make this full screen. Beta apps over here. And then you'll see I already have it installed here. But on this list here, you're going to need to go down and you're going to need to install the beta version of Premiere. And I don't know how long this text-based video editing feature is going to remain in beta for. There's obviously still doing testing, but I would assume it's getting pretty close. But yeah, for now, go ahead and install that and follow along.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw Evan Abrams was in here. Might still be in here, but I know he was working on his creative challenge with text-based editing. So
Ooh,
it's
hot.
it's a hot topic right now. So I'm excited to see what you get into today.
Okay, so I'm just gonna we're gonna start this as if it was a brand. Let's see here. I have a project open. We're gonna close out of this project and start a brand new one. So just to give kind of an overview, what I do want to cover today is we'll be talking about the text-based video editing, but we're also going to be talking about a few other things. So text-based editing, what is it good for? How does it work? What is it not so good for? When would you want to use it? All things related to transcriptions, including creating captions, subtitles. And then I have another cool little tool that I don't think many people know about. And the way I found out about it was kind of an accident. It's also a beta feature. It's still in beta, but basically it's an AI tool for enhancing your audio. So I definitely want to get to showing you that as well today.
Sweet. Awesome.
So we're going to come in here. We're going to make a new project. And again, we're in the Premiere Pro beta version. This isn't available in the regular version yet. I'll just call this Adobe Live.
And if anyone in the chat happens to be on the Premiere team and you know when it will be available, please let us know.
Yeah, I'm sure if there's anyone on the Adobe side of things watching, there might be one or two people, who knows. So this is the beta version, and already you can see I have a text window open here, and that's one that we're going to want to focus on. If you go to window, come down to text, and it's already there. So
is this just your, when you open your project file in beta, is this just your standard like default workspace?
You know, I changed some things around. Let's see here. Let's go to the editing one, and then we can go from there. This is not my typical workspace. It was kind of set up for this version.
Cool.
You can also come over to captions and graphic workspace here. And right off the bat, you'll notice there's a couple new buttons up here for the beta version. This progress bar will showcase that in a little bit. What's new in beta? So I do want to point this out really quick. And you can rate some features here. You can submit feedback. And then you can also read about all the changes and things that are constantly evolving here. And again, it is beta, so they're testing things, they're wanting feedback. So just know that that's there, and then you can read up on some of the stuff that's coming out and, you know, learn more on this text-based video editing or some of the other features.
Very cool.
If you do run into a bug in this upper right-hand corner, provide feedback, you can submit that. So let's get into it. I'm going to make a new bin. I'm going to put some footage in here, and I got 2 clips we'll bring in. And really quick, basically what we're going to be doing. So Premiere can already transcribe sequences, but it's not yet, I mean, now it is able to transcribe individual clips. So when you move it around, now it will dynamically change on your timeline as well. So what that means is every time you bring in a clip, it needs to transcribe it as the source media, the actual clip, as opposed to when you put it on a timeline. There's a couple things to do. You can do it each individual clip, which is what I'm going to show you. But I do want to also point out that if you come up here to edit, go to preferences, and there's this new box down here for transcription. So here we are in the preferences tab, the very last one here, automatic transcription. If you check this box, it will automatically start transcribing clips that you bring into Premiere.
So that's every clip that you bring into your bin, not just every clip that you put onto your timeline. So the second you import clips into your bin, Premiere is automatically transcribing those clips.
Well, you have two options here: the transcribe imported clips or clips in the sequence.
Gotcha.
And again, this is like an auto thing. I just want you to know it's here for our purposes today. I'll kind of show you without doing that, but know that it's here. And then you can tell it whether you want to separate speakers or not. And I would always say separate speakers. There's also other languages. Some of these you may have to download a package for, but it's all available for different languages. So also just good to know. I'm going to leave this turned off for now, but just wanted to point out that that is there to have it automatically do it. All right, so we're going to come into footage here. And I want to bring in a clip, Carson, and we'll bring in April. So I'm going to bring both of these in. Here's my clips. So there's a couple options here. We can come over to text, and this is that text box. If you don't see it right away, again, it's under window text or in your, where is it? Workspace.
Yep.
You come over to captions and graphics. So transcribe source. All you got to do, hit transcribe. And this is for the source media. So this is for this clip here. We're going to say English. As I mentioned, there's other languages. You can download packages if you do have other languages you're working with. Separate speakers, transcribe, and it's going to do its thing.
Oh, this is getting me so excited. I know this is still just beta, but like we were talking about this a little bit before we hopped on the stream about the, and I know you're going to be talking about the use cases of when it's important to use these. And I feel like the more we're moving into the space of short form video, even that has captions either baked into the video or that you want to send as, ancillary content, like this text-based editing is going to be something that you could almost use on every video that you create, not just long form video.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's going to be really useful. Like you brought up a really good point there. I think the best features of it. So sorry, let me hold here real quick.
Sure.
I might have disrupted it there. Let's see here. We got our little progress window. Whoops.
It looked like it was going.
Oh, that's because we did this one.
This one.
The other thing you can do, you can also right click in here and hit transcribe. And you could batch do these if you wanted. If you had a bunch of clips in here and you just wanted to do, maybe 5 out of 10 of them. For example, you're not going to need to try to transcribe maybe a music track or something that's already been edited. That could be a use case for that as well. Same thing with April. We'll go ahead and let hers run as well. Here we go.
Wow.
And this is on the individual source clip. So also, when it is on automatic, you're doing a bunch of clips, this progress bar up here is kind of handy to have to see what it's doing in the background. So we have a sequence here, and this is, I guess the first thing to say is there's a difference. What kind of was tricky for me at first when I started doing this was understanding that there's essentially 2 different transcription places, I guess is the way to put it. And one is that you can see it up here in this corner, carsonrampage.mov. So this is the actual source clip. Now, if I'm going to put this clip over here on the timeline, see how this changed to sequence 1? So now I'm actually editing the audio on the timeline. And that was kind of confusing at first because if I was to change something here, it's not going to change it on the actual clip. And actually a good example of that is I want to change the speaker here. So to edit speaker names, make the changes in the source transcript. How do we do that? We can click on that and bring it over. There's also these buttons here too. If you want to stay locked on one, there's show program monitor transcript. So when that's selected, it's going to be stuck on the sequence. And then there's show source, which now we're looking at the actual source. And since this is the source, we can actually label these speakers. So let's go ahead and play some of this really quick. And what's
Rampage is a little different than a lot of slopestyle contests and other competitive action sports because there's a lot of camaraderie. We all want to get down the hill safe. We're all friends. We want to see each other succeed. So it's competitive, but
so far everything is fairly similar to what's already available in Premiere.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and rename these speakers here. I know this first one, this is Carson. This is out at Virgin, Utah at Red Bull Rampage several years ago now. I think maybe at least 3 years ago. Just some footage I had laying around.
It looks incredible. Probably, I mean, incredible mountain biking, I'd assume, out there.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't spell. We'll just say, yeah. So that's going to change this all here. Now, if we click over to the sequence, it also changes it here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to.
So that's just a quick little point and antidote about, as you continue to go through like the organization of your source clips and your sequences and making sure that those things are labeled properly so that I guess in that situation, if you want to label the names of everything, it's better to do it in the source text than it is on the sequence.
Well, it actually won't allow you to do it on the sequence. If I try to do it on the sequence here, it gives me that message saying, I can't change it here. I have to go into the clip there. Got it. I definitely do recommend. I tried to pick a clip that had 2 speakers in it, so I wanted to be able to hear.
Do you think the hardest part about Rampage is the
person doing the actual interviewing?
Cool.
Because I also wanted to showcase that it is recognizing different people speaking. And again, the best use case for this is going to be interview clips, just long clips of people talking, and it's going to make it a lot quicker. Because now what's really cool is I could go through here and let's say I just, if I hit Control C, and you'll see on the timeline over here, it's actually setting an in and out point, which is this button here. So you can actually see where it's at on the timeline. And I can literally just, or I could, let's say Control X, whoops. And it's going to cut that. And then I can just paste it right over here with Control V. So we'll get into that a bit more. But that's kind of like what's really cool about this. I'm just going to undo that for right now. But, if you go through here, you could just, and we'll do this on another clip, you can just cut out all the interview stuff right away. You could even just come up here, this extract button or the quotation, take that out. Okay, we don't want the interviewer. We're going to take that out. And again, I could be clicking this. I'm just hitting the quotation button on the keyboard.
Okay.
And that's a really quick way to go through and get your selects. I don't want to sit here and listen to this whole paragraph of the interviewer. Boom. And now we're going to go through and we're going to keep going through and we'll get all those, the good stuff from Carson, at least kind of like a rough string out. And then we can go through and refine it even more.
That's incredible for one. I think this is so interesting because it opens up a completely new way to edit, and not so much like changing the style of the way you're already editing or we're already editing, but just making it that much easier to go through these selects. I'm curious, and you may be getting into this or this doesn't exist yet, but specifically, let's say for ums and filler words that you want to remove from interviews because those take so long to do. Is there a search function where you can actually search that transcript and then like batch delete all the ums?
It's like you read my mind. We are going to get into kind of how we can search and some of the other useful ways to use this. So let's, since I sang, pun intended. There are, so a couple things before we jump into that.
Okay.
There is the option here to display pauses as these ellipses. And it'll actually tell you how long each of those pauses is. which is kind of nice because you know, if you're reading this on paper, it gives you a little bit more sense of pacing or whether it was a good line or not. And I think one of the best use cases, I wish I actually knew about this. Like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I was on a project where I had to edit just a ton of interview footage, and it was from Zoom calls. And the client literally had transcripts and everything was highlighted, and I had to go in and find all those clips manually. And with the latest version of Premiere, that wasn't terrible, but I want to just show this. So once you have this clip here, you can export this as a text file to whatever you want. I have it here already, but let's say you needed to just send a client or a person an interview footage so they can go through and pick the best lines that they want, and then they're going to come back to you and you need to find those clips. So voila, here is our transcript. And you can just kind of go through here, read this, and the client or whoever, without even looking at the footage, already can get a pretty good idea of what clips they might want. So
sure.
I highlighted a couple here just as an example. So what we're going to do, we're just going to look at some of this. So it's competitive, and it does take into account things like apostrophes and that sort of stuff. But using the search feature here,
I feel like there needs to be like a drum roll in the background or something
here. But it's a little bit different. Yeah. Boom. So this is the line I was looking for. Let's just make sure. Yep.
Okay.
And then I can just Control C, put it down here at the end of the timeline, or I could extract it. I could do a bunch of different things, put it on a separate timeline. So we need that one. And then the hardest part of Rampage, I'm not scrubbing through any of this. I'm not listening to it.
Yeah, you just plug it. I mean, that's so helpful.
Let's see what happened to our speakers here.
Alex, while you're doing this, Josh actually had a good question. He said if you edit the transcription, like you change the grammar, you change something around, once the footage is in a sequence, does that edit then carry over to the clip level, like the source?
Say that one more time.
So if you edit the transcription the way you're doing right now, in your sequence, change some grammar around, things like that, once you actually have the footage in the sequence, does that edit then carry over to the source level?
Well, remember there's two, as we kind of talked about at the beginning, there's two separate transcriptions, I think is the best way to put it. There's the one for the sequence, and then there's the one for the actual clips. Okay. So right now we're looking at the sequence one right here. So this, as you can see, like I copied and pasted this line here at the end.
Right.
And now if I scroll down, we'll probably see it again here. Yeah. Hardest part of Rampage. And now it's selecting this one. I see. The actual transcription is linked to the clip itself. It'll always be there. So now if we come in here, now I'm selected on the MOV file.
Cool.
This is where it actually lives. And I don't know why it didn't save that. So let's just say.
So really like that's, and just to sort of repeat it so I'm understanding too, it's the source or the clip is sort of the non-destructive way to make sure that your transcription as you have it is intact, so that when you're creating your sequences down the line, if a client says, hey, I actually want that part of the interview that was in the source, like you have all that information right there in the source that you can go reference.
Exactly. So anything that's on the source clip is just going to live on that clip forever. Basically, it's just kind of metadata that is applied to that clip. And that's kind of the big difference between doing transcriptions now in Premiere is really, the way you do it now is only on the sequence here. So if you make changes or you move clips on the sequence, say you move this down and then this whole timeline gets messed up, but this is actually a dynamic transcript. Whereas I believe the regular version of Premiere is more of a static transcript, which is this here.
Gotcha.
So as I make changes here, it's going to update the time code automatically on my sequence. which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because as you can see here, I copied the section from right in here, put it at the end of my timeline, and it updated down here as well. So you don't have to go through and retranscribe your entire sequence every time you make a change, which currently is what you have to do.
Yep. Yeah, we're taking baby steps, but this is a huge step, really. Like, just even though it's in beta still, again, I feel like this is pretty close. And I'm mad at myself that the stream is today and not yesterday, because I spent all night going through a webinar that this would have saved me a couple hours of time.
Yep. Yeah, this is going to be, it's going to save a lot of time just in general. Anytime you have an interview, let me show you that process. So I think, feel free to ask questions, but that's kind of the general concept of how it functions. There's a couple different buttons, but literally it's just, Control C or Control X, cut or copy, and then you can paste. You can use the lift and extract, which I'll show you here. So on another clip here, I'm just going to delete these for now.
Cool.
So let's switch over to this clip from April here. And this was from the Skydio Summit we had, I don't know, a couple months back. And remember, I did already transcribe that. You can retranscribe as well. Again, it's pretty much, well, you can go through and kind of redo things if you need to. It's very friendly, user-friendly in that sense. So it is nice to have that feature there. So this is April's clip, and we're on the source clip. I don't have anything in the timeline right now. And again, we're under text. I'm going to rename these. So let's see what's going on here.
All right, so.
And actually, go ahead and just put this right here so we can kind of see what we're doing.
All right, so have you flown drones before?
A little bit. I'm always just really scared of crashing them, more so into trees, people, and things.
So already here, it is recognizing two speakers. So speaker 2, we're on the source clip again. Let's just go ahead and change speaker 2. We know this is April. April's awesome. She's a mountain biker. Super fun. And then speaker 1, that was this guy.
I crashed it once today trying to do a hand catch.
So what I'm going to do, let's just say I had this clip really quick, and I want to go through and I want to just cut out all of my audio. Now, as far as I know, there's not a way to do this. Like, you can't search. This is something I'm hoping for, and maybe it's coming really soon, but you can't search by, say, the actual person here. Like if I type in Alex, and again, maybe there is a way, I just don't know how to do it. I'm still exploring this as well, but it won't actually recognize the speakers, and it would be great to just batch select Alex, hit delete. But even though you can't do that, you still can do this pretty quick. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and I want to put all of her clips on the timeline. And I'm just going to select it, highlight that, and I'm going to hit the comma key, which is this insert, and it posts it right on the timeline down here. And I'm just going to do that for all of her clips super quick.
Man, what a quick way.
Like just to skip through all
of
my question asking.
Right. And maybe that takes you 2-3 minutes to do if it's a long interview.
We're
not even 20 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to be done during this stream. So this is, I think, this is a 4.5 minute clip. So how long, James, you edit, how long do you think it would take you to go through and just listen to this audio? And yeah,
maybe 5-10 minutes, depending on how tight we're going into the ums and the cutting it down, but you're still refining it. So as fast as I can go, you still have to then go in, cut it down more, and you just did all that in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, so now this is a 4.5 minute clip. I have all of April's lines right here already, and
so But then I caught it with instruction perfectly.
With me already cut
All
out,
the-
that took all of like, I don't know, less than a minute.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
pretty sweet. And now I could, that was based off of that clip. Now I could switch, or it automatically switched with Follow Active Monitor. But now I could come in here and again, I could essentially refine this even more, or I could, export this transcript and say, here's all of April's audio to the client. Here's what you have to choose from, and boom, you're done. Then the client comes back, they select their lines. You could pull your selects, or you can go in here and refine it more. But I think everyone kind of gets the idea on how we do that. I don't want to go through this entirely, but I'm hoping you kind of get the idea of like the power of what this can do. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think other than just a time
clip.
saver and a different way to edit, it's really a huge tool. I think for editors like yourself, editors like myself that are working with clients that want to see, that want notes to be added to the text themselves. And I feel like a Google Doc is how we've done it traditionally. And it's a pain to have to look at the time codes in a Google Doc and realize, okay, where is that text? And this just makes it a lot more streamlined, I think, for both the client and for you as the editor.
Absolutely. And the fact that you can search things, if the client does say, hey, I know they said something along this line, you can go back and kind of search for some of that. I use that all the time, actually. That's like probably one of the most powerful features. Like if I just knew drone was a keyword, or anytime she mentioned that, and you will have to come through here. I think she mentions the word Skydio, which is the drone company. And, it won't recognize words like that, but you can come in here and you can make edit changes and adjust all this. And depending on how in-depth your project is, obviously it might make sense to do that. Other times it may not. And you kind of you get the idea, or it says writing like a pencil instead of riding like a bicycle, which,
right.
That was a common one on Carson's clip over here.
But yeah,
so
does a pretty good job, all things considered. And I mean, even that one of April, like I feel like there is a lot of background noise with the drone itself, and so it's done a pretty good job taking her audio and not muffling it. But there's a lot of corrections that you have to make before editing the sequence.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it. I don't know. Get out of my head, James.
Am I reading? Sorry, I'm like jumping ahead here.
Glad you brought that up. So, yeah, if there's any questions, definitely, feel free to ask those. But that's kind of the general concept of how text-based editing works. I do kind of want to show a couple other things in this stream. So let's show you this. Let's just grab a section here. I don't want the whole thing.
The summit is awesome. I'm really happy that we are hands-on with the people that work.
And let's get this to update a little bit.
We are hands-on with the people that work there, the engineers and developers, testers, everybody. So we're very.
So I don't know if you guys can hear. James, can you hear the drone humming in the background? There's also some people talking in the background. Yep. Is that coming through? Okay.
Yeah, that the people are a little bit fainter, but the drone you certainly.
We're very lucky. We can give feedback and can come up.
So you can definitely hear the people here. I'm just gonna grab, just for example's sake and time's sake, I'm gonna grab this section here, and I think most people are familiar with, coming into the audio workflow and tweaking settings and throwing filters on there. And that can get a little advanced. And I want to show you something I discovered that's really cool. And it doesn't take any skill at all.
What a good sell. I'm ready.
You know what? I was told about this probably like a month and a half ago, and I was super skeptical, and I am blown away by it that I'm just telling everyone about it now.
Sweet.
The only catch is you do need to get access to it. But if you have an Adobe account, that shouldn't be a problem. So the best way is just type in Adobe Podcast on Google, because you're probably not going to remember the website, but this is it, podcast.adobe.com.
I'm so curious how you got to figure this out.
So go ahead and request access. You do need to be, I believe, over 18. It usually goes through pretty quick. A friend of mine I told about, it went through, fairly quickly. I can't talk today. So the thing I want to show you under quick tools is called enhanced speech. And again, this isn't necessarily built into Premiere yet, but there's no reason that us video editors can't utilize this tool. So this is what we're going to be using. Go to that website, podcast.adobe.com/enhance. Let's go ahead and grab our clip here.
Awesome.
Now you don't need the video. We just are concerned about the audio. And
really happy that we are hands-on with the
I want to see, as an example, what it does with her audio and the background noise and the drone noise. So I'm going to go ahead and export just the audio here as like a waveform, just so it uploads way faster. And that's all we need. So let's just call this April's audio test. We'll just go ahead and put this. And I'm going to export it. We don't need the video, so I'm going to turn that off. The audio. And this is something, obviously, you wouldn't want to do this for 400 clips. But if you have all of your audio from an interview strung out and you're getting into the polishing stages, I would just export all of that and then do this process. So I'm going to select first thing, preset, where is it? Format. Scroll to the bottom. Waveform audio. And we're selected on our in and outs. We're going to hit export. That should go really quick, super fast. Okay. Now, back on this website here. Here's our clip. So we're going to upload this clip to here. There is kind of a limit right now on how much you can do, but I haven't hit that limit yet.
in terms of like
I think it, I think it even
size.
said there before I dropped it, I think you're only allowed to do like up to 3 hours or something like that per day. But the way I like to do this, and I recently did it on a project, was what I'll do is I'll take the footage, especially, whoops, I did not mean to click that Premiere, so used to it. I will take the whole string out of someone's interview and I will actually nest it with the audio underneath, and then I'll cut off the nest. That way I'll know what clip to use. So just pre-nested is a good way if you're working at the very beginning of a project. But the other way is once you have your edit done, I would just select, solo your audio track of all the different clips and upload it all as one.
It looks like Josh has already tried this. He said just reviewed clips from a trade show floor interview. Josh, the worst background noise ever, obviously, on a trade show floor. He said using podcast, and the results were insane.
All right, so here's our little clip. We're going to download this, and it's same name, just with the parentheses enhanced. We'll just toss that here. Coming back, we're going to close this version. All right, so let's go grab that clip really fast.
Bum, 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 bum.
What happened to my windows? Let's go back to editing. There we go. Thanks for bearing with me through all of this, everyone. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So here's that clip. We're just going to toss it underneath, and we're going to compare and contrast here. And I will go ahead and see. Where is it? All my buttons are different from this version.
I know there's nothing worse than when you're like, where's my layout?
We're going to put the loop button here. We'll just loop this in and out. So we'll go ahead and turn this one off. I'll select both. So I'm going to play it. This is her original audio.
Awesome. I'm really happy that we are hands-on with the people that work there, the engineers and developers, testers, everybody.
For new audio?
No.
So we're very lucky that they can help us through all the questions that we have, and we can give feedback and can come up with the summit is awesome. I'm really happy that we are hands-on with the people.
Oh my God.
So there's still a little bit of that drone noise, but it does a really good job. And I think I was first blown away by this AI voice enhance, this Adobe Podcast, which is also still in beta. Sometimes it sounds pretty digital, but if you're looking for a really quick, easy fix that literally pretty much anyone can do, I highly recommend checking this out. And like I said, the first clip I ever had, it was a guy, and I think it was recorded with a cell phone, and he was talking outside, and I think it was like outside SFO airport, and there's literally an airplane going by in the background. And in the fixed clip, you could see the airplane flying. I couldn't see the airplane, or I couldn't hear the airplane. So you could see the airplane flying by, but I couldn't hear it anymore. It completely removed it, and his audio sounded great. So
I mean, that's an incredible way too. I feel like the biggest shock to that sound is that it maintained like the low bass of her voice too, because I feel like a lot of the time when you're trying to even like remove noise reduction, you're constantly playing around with those frequencies to see what the sweet spot is. But when you clicked back and forth, I'm like, it sounds like she's in a studio.
We were hands-on with the people that
like you can hear it a little bit there, but
developers, testers.
Yeah, so it does a pretty good job. Again, this is in beta. So what we're kind of doing today is just exploring all these cool features that are coming out and the way, I mean, AI is such a hot topic right now. And Adobe's on top of it. They're doing some really cool stuff and it's coming. But definitely play around with it now. I've used this on client projects many times, especially like I said, the one I was just doing a couple of weeks ago was a bunch of Zoom interview calls. And it already sounded digital in that sense. So it took it and really cleaned it up, polished it up, and it really doesn't require skills. So I think this will be a really useful kind of tool or hack for a lot of people that maybe aren't as familiar with Premiere and aren't looking to go and fiddle with all the filters and the frequencies, or maybe don't have that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mean, again, it's a great resource for editors like yourself that are doing it professionally, and editors who maybe got thrown a project by a client that they don't really know what to do with, and it sounds like you're from a trade show floor, or it's from a cell phone. I think this is some way to make it feel a little bit more professional, even if you're not necessarily a professional editor. So another one of the tools that again, it's blowing all of our minds in here. Josh again said the results with podcast literally make people not wearing a lav seem like they're wearing one, which that's what I was thinking too.
Exactly. And everyone's these days is shooting things on iPhones. So, nobody's mic'd up. So I'm still blown away and impressed by it. I've used it quite a bit, pretty extensively, and I think it works very well. It's not perfect. I've had one instance where it didn't quite work for what I needed. But I would say overall, like 85% success rate.
Like I guess the only hiccup with that is it wouldn't be something where you would like be using it in your sound mix, because you can't really tweak it. I mean, you can,
exactly,
but there's no levels of changing the highs and lows and pulling those things out. So it's a good slap on and get started. But would you suggest probably not using this if you were going to be moving into a full sound mix?
Yeah, if you had someone to mix your sound, you know what you're doing. I don't know that I would go this route. It's worth trying. I mean, for the amount of time that took, give it a try. Like I said, I've tried it and then I was like, it sounds a little too distorted, or I ran into one section where it maybe wasn't great. And again, like this is beta stuff. This is brand new features. This isn't like available, but I'm sure it will be soon by normal, like within the program.
Sure.
So that's really exciting to me. And yeah, I think it's definitely not the way to go if you know what you're doing in the audio world. Come in and add those filters and effects, and bring it into Audition or whatever you do for the audio. But for the majority of people, I think that's a great, easy, quick solution that really takes no time at all.
That's incredible.
Two other things I just wanted to point out for audio fixes as well, just really quick stuff. And unfortunately, I don't have good clips to showcase this, but a lot of times if you have a handful of clips, and I find it's most common with like MP4s, like H.264 clips. Let's say you just had a huge sequence, and I don't think this would come through on our stream here, but if you had a good pair of headphones and you're actually doing some audio mixing, you'll hear in between clips, you'll hear these little pops, and they're very, very subtle. But I know a lot of people have run into them, and the simplest fix for that is just to add like a 1-frame cross dissolve.
Really nice. So once I think, and
so I can hear it a little bit there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll come through, but basically on all of my clips at the end before exporting, and I'm just going to share these like really quick. I would just put like literally like a 1 frame cross dissolve on it. Ooh, probably do another thing here. So I don't know if you guys just saw that. I was going to mention that as well.
Oh,
so here's our little cross dissolve. Right now, I don't know if you guys can see the duration I'm dragging it out for. This is something a lot of people also don't know about. And we'll see if it'll render the reason it's showing up like that is, oops, I clicked the wrong one. So on your sequence here, there's this, actually, it's not even here. It's actually under this menu, I think. Yeah. So if you are on your sequence, there's this button here for show audio time units. So I have it turned off right now, which is how it is by default, what most people are used to. And now it's, frame by frame, like a video frame by a video frame.
Right.
In rare instances, this isn't super common, but I have had to do it, especially with some stock music that's maybe not aligned perfectly and I'm recutting the track. This is kind of more of an advanced technique. Right now, this is as zoomed in as I can get on that audio. And 1 frame over is quite a bit.
Right.
Which is fine for most cases. If you come to this little hamburger icon, you toggle on show audio time units. It basically changes it over so you can really, now if I go 1 frame over, you don't even see it. I'm tapping it, but you don't even see it. So we can actually zoom all the way in here.
Wow.
We can get really nitpicky with our audio. And I've needed to use that sometimes where it's like, I needed to come in here and it just sounded a little bit better if I like took out like the smallest little amount, like very, very subtle fine tuning. And a lot of people don't know it's been in Premiere for a long time. So
yeah,
it's kind of a nice little, I always go to the wrong menu.
How did I not know that was?
And you can switch it back and forth. Yeah.
Cool. Very, very cool. And I'm sure you could, if you were really using that a lot, you could probably set up some sort of shortcut for it, but the rarity that you're going to need to go that specific. But I will agree with you. Like I find myself needing that little extra frame that I can't get to.
Maybe it's off a half a frame or something like that. So that's a good use case where it's like 1 frame is too much. You can still hear a little pop or something in there. Going back to what I was saying, we can add these little 1 frame cross dissolves, and I'll do that on basically all of my clips. And you do Shift D on there. Now, by default, it's putting a 30-second. If you had a full edit here of all these clips, you can actually come into preferences. And where is it? Timeline, maybe? Yeah, so audio, you can set this to like 1 frame. And then you could just select Alt. I'm holding down the Alt button, selecting these. And I hit Shift D, and now it just put it on all of them.
That was another trick that I recently learned from Josh, who's in the chat, and again from you here today, that my entire career as an editor, I've been going through, and I'm just like, what? I was like, there has to be an easier way to do this, and I basically like led Josh into him telling me this, and I was so excited after the stream. It was like the project I was working on, and saved myself an hour, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and again, the reason we do that, or I do it, is I do find, not always, but especially when you're working with different codecs, different formats of video, as you're playing through your audio, you might be getting these tiny little pops, which if you have a good pair of speakers or headphones, you will hear that, and especially if it's in like a big room environment. So by adding that kind of really short cross dissolve on just the audio, it helps eliminate that. There's also, doesn't always work, but if you have a clip that, and again, unfortunately, I don't have one on hand right now, but I'll point it out just so people are aware of it. Some clips will have kind of their own pop, and I do find this quite a bit on like Zoom calls, and as we've been in the remote world from COVID lately, so a lot of audio that's maybe not so great. There is this filter that's worth trying, and it's literally drag and drop. I just type in click here, so it's automatic click remover, And in some instances, I was just working on some webinar videos, and yeah, there was kind of this weird clicky poppy sound in the background. And I had to actually go and look up like, what is the best, easiest way to remove this? And I literally just dragged it on, and even on its default settings, you can select, heavy, reduction, light, or medium. Even on its default setting, it instantly got rid of it in that case, which was pretty awesome.
I also kind of just love the name. It was like editors like yourself were like, how do I get rid of this click remover thing? Oh, automatic click remover. Great.
Hey, there's a filter for that. So
making our lives easier today, Alex, honestly, like this. And is the automatic click remover in the beta version, or is it in the live?
Oh, that's in the live version. Okay. Yeah. So far, everything I've shown you here is in the live version, with the exception of what we first started out talking about, the text-based editing and even transcriptions. That is in the regular version currently. So it's just when you Control-C, Control-V.
Cool.
And then obviously the website we used here to enhance that audio. So let's go ahead and let's talk about captions.
Let's do it. And while we have a minute, while you set up captions, you got about 35 minutes left, Alex, just keeping you on time. And for those that are new to this kind of format, if you're joining us on Behance, whether you're watching on YouTube and you want to nominate a fellow creative that you know, or nominate yourself even to be on Adobe Live, we would love to have you on Adobe Live. And so there is a creative chat on Behance. Just submit those recommendations. This is a community of talented creatives of all mediums, and we love having new people on the show. So just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. Back to you, sir. Back to the thing.
All right. So we'll go ahead and jump into captions, which is kind of related to that text-based audio editing and just the whole world. It's under the entire umbrella of transcriptions, which is what we were creating here earlier. And this is a finished video I have from a couple of years ago, but I just want to showcase how we would make subtitles or captions for that. And it's relatively simple. So, and again, you could do this in the regular version of Premiere as well. So I actually already have this transcribed. So it was the same process here. You'd go up to, on your sequence, you would just transcribe it. Where is it? Oh. So under the text window, there's transcript, which if that wasn't there, it would say transcribe sequence, but we've already done that. And then we also have this captions tab here, and that's what we're going to start working in. Before I do that, I'm going to play through a little bit of this really quick, just the very intro, and we'll get a sense of what we're kind of playing with here.
I absolutely love what I do. I get to help change people's lives through fitness. I become more than a trainer to these people. They trust their lives with me, and that is something that is just invaluable. My name is Yogi Johnson.
All right, so this was a video I put together for a small business here in Bend a little while back, and Yogi is the sweetest lady you'll ever meet.
She seems
so
like
I'd love to feature her, and she's super fit and super strong, obviously, but just incredible person. I went ahead before we started the stream, and I actually converted over her audio here because I didn't have this enhanced audio feature that we just talked about. And I kind of want to show you. Let's go ahead and I'm going to solo her original voiceover. This is all of her voiceover.
Okay.
I get to help change people's lives through fitness. I become more than a trainer to these people.
So I'm kind of
They trust their lives with.
I'm hearing birds in the background. There's kind of some white noise going on of just the street noise, that sort of stuff.
I do have a facility in Bend, Oregon, but because of.
In this project, it wasn't super high budget. It was done pretty quickly. So in another world, I might have spent more time on the audio, but once I combined the music and all the other elements, honestly, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So I went ahead, here's my enhanced one. And basically what I did was I exported this stem of just her voiceover audio without the music, without the sound effects, uploaded it to here, downloaded it, and then now you're caught up. Brought it back in. So this is our enhanced one.
Okay.
And I will solo these two, and then we can just see. We'll turn it off really quick. But let's see if we can still hear the birds in the background noise.
I become more than a trainer to these people. They trust their lives with me.
And then we'll kind of toggle these back and forth really quick. So let's go ahead and turn these.
Is there a shortcut, like a hotkey for toggling solo and mute and those things on and off?
You know, the only way I know is to select one, turn it off. The
like the enable.
It's Option Shift Enable.
Okay.
And then I'll select the other one with one off. And then if you hit the Option Shift Enable again, or do, Edit Enable, it'll just switch the two.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's the only way I know. But if someone else knows, please post it in the chat. I'd love to know that.
Yeah, I feel like all these little shortcuts, I'm learning new ones every single time I'm on here, and I get very excited about them. They're
of course, they make our lives way easier.
Totally.
All right, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to toggle it again, and we can get a sense of how that AI enhanced audio enhancing, I don't know, podcast tool, how it did on here.
I become more than a trainer to these
people. So that's the enhanced audio.
They trust their lives with me, and that is something that is just invaluable. Being strong means many different things. A cancer patient, being able to get out of a chair, that can be strength and strong.
Man.
And to a cyclist, being able to power up a hill can be strong. I work with all of them. If you want a real trainer who's going to work with you, not just inside the...
So yeah, me personally, I would use the enhanced one. If I were to do this project over again, I would use the enhanced one and turn it on with the music. And actually, let's just mute that.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, let's hear it with the full track.
Being able to power up a hill can be strong. I work with all of them. If you want a real trainer who's going to work with you.
Yeah, so if it were me and this was available 3 years ago when I did this project, I would have used it. I mean,
Absolutely.
like I said, it's a low budget project. So there wasn't a whole, if it's billed hourly, that's all money that's being charged to the client. So this is just a much quicker way. And I think it's a great tool for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that specific situation too, like for people that are kind of new to this whole format, I mean, to be able to enhance the audio in a way that sounds like it's pure voiceover that you didn't necessarily have the time or the budget for at when you shot this video, and then be able to actually build sound design on top of that. If you wanted to bring some atmospheric noise back in, you could, but it's not inside of that clip, and that's an insanely powerful tool.
Exactly. You got it. All right, let's do some captions really quick.
I'm with you, man.
I'm with you. And we're going to do this. And honestly, it's a pretty quick process when it's nice and clean like this. So it's telling me that source clip I just brought in is not transcribed. So we can go ahead and transcribe it. That's fine. Or also, if you ever played, what is it? Solitaire, I think, back in the day.
Yep.
From like the 90s, and it would do that cool like stacking. This is what that reminds me of when you beat the game, or maybe it was Solitaire Freestyle or something.
It was
like that.
It was definitely Solitaire, because that's
where it like bounced all the cards, and I don't know why, that's what it made me think of. So, and again, it just did that whole sequence. Didn't really take too long, which is pretty sweet. So we have this here. Let's go to create captions. You're going to love how difficult this is. So hard. All right. So we have all sorts of options here. For the most part, the default is fine. You can choose single or double lined, which a lot of times I'll do single. It just kind of depends how much talking there is. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at the default for everything. You can choose different formats if you're doing the broadcast and that sort of stuff. There's open captions and closed captions. Closed captions are the type that are usually like you push a button on your remote or on your computer, and then the captions show up. open captions are typically burned into the video, so it'll always show. Creating captions. And I feel like the subtitle tool here in Premiere is evolved so much over the last like 2 years that it's really quite useful now. So we have our captions over here, and it basically just took it off our transcriptions. Let's see how it did. I'm going to open up Essential Graphics.
I remember. So, I mean, and I'm sure you feel this way too, Alex, when you were editing text before this tool existed inside of Premiere. I would use like SpeechPad and third-party companies to send
rev.com.
Yeah, like rev.com.
Yeah.
And then you wait for them to come back. You send it to whoever needs it. You go through it. The process took forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's usually like a day turnaround. You pay a few bucks, they'll transcribe it, send you back some stuff, and then you make the captions, and then you got to go through and make the changes. And this is just so much better than it was, 2-3 years ago, even. And let's see how it did.
I absolutely love what I do. I get to help change people's lives through fitness. I become more than a trainer to these people. They trust their lives with me.
So, I mean, I haven't even seen any mistakes. Like, granted, this was nice, clean audio. And I told it to, pull the captions. You can select a particular track or the full track. So how do we edit this though? If there were changes, we could just come in here and double click. Again, we're in the text window. If you don't have that window text, this doesn't need to be in the beta version. This is in regular Premiere. And yeah, you could come in here and you could edit this. Let's say maybe you wanted to split this up to be on 2 separate clips.
I become more,
right where she says more than a trainer, maybe. Like maybe you just want I become to be on its own. You could either take the blade tool, you could splice it here, and then it doubles it here, and you could, cut this one out. That's one option, and then adjust this one. The other way you could do it is this clip here, and you could is it split caption? So it'll also put another caption in there.
more than a trainer.
But I personally like to just come in here and cut and edit this just like as if it was any other text layer.
Right. Those are pretty valuable tools though. I feel like so many people are using captions, myself included, for Instagram Reels, for TikTok videos, YouTube Shorts that are sitting in the middle of your video, and it's like one big pop or a couple big pops of a word. So being able to split those once you get everything in there and then actually stylize it the way you want, is pretty cool.
So again, there you go again.
I'm just, I'm just like, I'm
leading me in the right direction. Such a good host. Let's get this guy back here. All right. So yeah, I don't know about this white, and I don't know about this font. I can come over and in that essential graphics window, essential graphics, that's how we get to all of our stuff. Let's say this one, we want it to be, another popular color, and we want yellow. And it's giving me this little exclamation thing telling me it's not broadcast safe. I click that, now it's broadcast safe. That's a pretty neon yellow. Sorry, if we were doing broadcast video, you would want it to be broadcast safe. So good practice just to keep it broadcast safe when you can. Let's say we just wanted this yellow and we wanted to change. Oh, everyone loves Comic Sans. So, let's,
oh my goodness.
That looks super professional. So
I hope there's some designers on this.
Maybe Wingdings. Yeah. So here we go. Oh no, but it's only on this caption. So what do? Do I go through and highlight all these? We could do that. We could go through, hold shift and highlight all of these. Or maybe there is one caption, or it's a different speaker, and we want that one to look different. What we could do if we wanted it universal is we can actually come over to track style here, create style. Let's just call this, I don't know, alternate. And now it's there as my alternate track style. It hasn't actually done anything. We just created the style. Oh, maybe it did in that case. Let me change this back. Let's make this black. Okay, so now it's its own. And then let's say if we wanted to be on this one and push that to all of them, you can come up here and go to this button, which is push to track. What is it? Push to tracker style. All captions on track, and it's going to update everything on your everything in your sequence. So now we didn't actually edit that one individually. I just did it from here, but that's what this track style is for. So if you set it on one particular subtitle, you can just push it across to everything on your timeline.
So if here's a question. If Yogi had, let's say you were interviewing her and you wanted to keep your interview in there and you wanted maybe your captions to be a different style than what Yogi's is, can you then, obviously there's different track styles that like automated like that, but would you have to have all of your captions on that one subtitle track, or would Yogi's be like on C2 and then yours would be on C1, so that you sort of, or
well,
I guess you could do that.
Do a test. So we do have another subtitle track here. It looks like it only allows you to have one or the other on.
Got it. Yeah.
But what we could do, let's say, maybe let's just give this a try. Maybe this batch, I'm going to explore this with you. I'm not too sure, but that's a good use case. So let's do this. Let's try creating a new style. Oh, maybe you're only allowed one. So we're learning together.
Yeah.
The thing I do know that you can do, let's say, well, let's just say as an example, where's your, now if I were to change, it won't let me do it there, but if I come in the essential graphics panel, let's see, you can change individual words if you do it like this in the essential graphics panel.
Okay.
Which in that case, you could probably just, you could, let's see here. I'm curious if this will work. We're going to, let's say this whole line, we wanted a different, yeah, I don't know a way to batch do it. I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always
there's a way to do that.
I've always kind of wondered that. I mean, there might not be.
You could do it individually, yeah, obviously.
There might not be a need for it. And I think if, again, some things have to be somewhat manually done. Premiere is, magic, but sometimes there needs to be a little bit of that labor involved. But yeah, because I've always wondered why the first subtitle track is turned off and the top track is the only available track.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Josh had one other point too that you probably were going to hit on about the track styles, being able to not only use them for this caption track here, but you can actually save styles to use in future projects.
Yes. It's been a while since I've done that, so I kind of forget how to do it, but I do know. So as you can see over here, it did make this file here. It might be export text styles. Honestly, I don't remember. I haven't had to do that a whole lot off the top of my head. So yeah, I don't know. Josh, let us know.
Yeah, Josh coming in with the wisdom.
Let's see here.
Does it have something to do with libraries, or it's like, I don't know if I can't remember either because it's been a while since I've done that.
Let's try export text style. Alternate Premiere text style. So I know it's exportable, and then from there, I'm not sure how to import it.
Create style.
So
yeah,
Josh, let us know if you know.
I had another question for you, Alex. This is in the similar vein, but I've always been curious about this. Do you, so obviously these are the captions for a 16:9, something that's for the web, YouTube, website, that kind of thing. When you're doing captions for specifically social media, it seems like the best spot for the caption is not not directly center aligned, but slightly below it, almost like 3/4 to the bottom. Do you have like a template that you use or a way to make that as easy as possible for streamlining social media captions?
Great question. I don't have a specific template I use, but if you do a quick Google search, because it is constantly changing, and I think that's why I don't have a template. If you do a search for that platform, you can usually find kind of like, I would search maybe borders or bleed lines for, say, Instagram or TikTok. And I do have like an overlay that's like an alpha layer, and it just kind of masks out all the different areas. Like, maybe if someone's typing a comment, it even moves up. So that way you are in the safe zones for that particular social media platform. Gotcha. So that's what I would do. I would kind of bring it in, like, let's say the sequence was 1080 by 1920. And also here, since I did change this, it automatically resized this, which is awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
It resized all my captions to fit within that area. And then my video, obviously, we would just, scale that up for social media or however you're going to format it. And you could also put that auto reframe on there.
Yeah, there's so many ways. There's so many ways to do the same sorts of edits in Premiere. Click of a button, auto reframe for this is actually perfect.
Yeah, so now we have her captions here. Now, what you are saying is like, maybe we actually need to move this up a little bit.
Right.
You can kind of align these however you want, just by using, by doing that, by using these tools here.
Cool.
But you can also just kind of come in and move them as needed to wherever it makes sense. And again, that's kind of something when we generated those captions, remember it said, do you want single line or double line?
Right.
That is one reason I try sometimes to do single line, if it makes sense and there's not like an overwhelming amount of talking, is it does make it a little bit easier to have single line, because sometimes it will be pushing up into someone's face or on the screen, but you also kind of want to leave that space for maybe a social media overlay if someone's typing a comment and that window pops up or that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've embedded the captions, and actually Fabiola is in the chat here today. She said that the font would look better in Papyrus, super legible.
Oh, yeah,
obviously. But I know,
Wingdings.
Wingdings. We should just try out a couple different ones.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, perfect. We'll just decode whatever it is that you're doing here. But Fabiola, I know that I've been seeing you on Instagram doing a lot of those social media videos, and kind of curious as to where exactly that fits if you don't have an overlay like Alex is talking about, because I have embedded captions and then I go to upload it and I realize it's like slightly below that comment window. And it can be really distracting if someone's trying to read that as well as your caption in Instagram, and then that little, comment pop up as well. So it's all these little things that we have to think about. It's almost the new version of broadcast safe and safe margins.
Yeah, and as I said, it is kind of always changing. So that's why I don't always just keep one template on hand. But if you do like a Google search for the bleed lines on a Instagram story or something like that, you can typically find at least 400 different templates.
Yeah, for sure.
One other thing, so if you are making videos and you're going to YouTube, and again, we kind of talked about how to do these captions, but how do you actually export them? Because if you don't know, it could be a pain in the butt. So I'm going to hit Control M to go to my export tab here. Let's see. I don't know why it's not showing. This could be because I'm in the beta version, right?
I think you're in
your video. We turned it off.
Yep. You're in waveform.
Let's just go to.
There we go.
And we'll match our source. So here's our captions here, and it might show up here but there's actually a separate tab. And if you don't have it turned on, you won't get your captions.
It'll drive you crazy too.
Come to this captions tab here. And it's actually, even though it shows up here, it's not turned on. So what this is doing is it's referencing this specific captions track. So just make sure that captions checkbox is turned on if you want them burned into the video. Now it's updating, of course. There's also burn captions into video. So that'll put the captions right on top as we saw. The other option is create a sidecar file. And this is actually really useful for things like YouTube, where I know specifically YouTube will accept a .srt file, and you can upload your own captions as opposed to letting YouTube try to transcribe it in words like Skydio may not, copy over correctly.
Sicario.
So what this does, yeah, exactly. And you can include the styling or not based on like how you styled your subcaptions, which is another cool thing. But yeah, great for use on YouTube or any platform. I think Facebook might do it as well. But you can add an additional SRT file for your captions so that when users, you could export a version without captions and then include that SRT file, and then they can just push the button on YouTube whether they want the captions on or off.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I think that's all I really have to show on this, but if we got a moment.
Yeah, you got about 10 minutes left.
So I do kind of want to, this isn't so much as like what we can do in Premiere, but it's more of a video that I happened to come across a couple of weeks ago that Adobe put out that actually got me really excited. And I think it intertwines with everything we've been talking about with the AI world, the text-based editing, and kind of where things are going. And again, it's not quite here yet, but I would love to show this.
Please, let's do it. I'm excited.
And you might have seen it because it is on the interwebs already. It's just on Adobe's blog, and it's all about, I don't know if you've heard of Adobe Firefly. It's this Adobe's awesome new AI tool. And currently there's not video on it, but there is some really unique features for generating images from text, that sort of stuff. I'll let the moderators post a link to Adobe Firefly, which also is in beta. Something new coming, and it looks like this is a couple weeks ago. So Adobe is kind of talking about what's coming in video. And this is what I've been waiting for. So if you haven't seen this, if we got a minute or so, I do want to play this. And it just got me really excited. So I want to know what you guys think.
Cool.
It's wild.
What?
When I get to the crag, I'm putting on my shoes.
Easy B-roll.
What?
This is so cool.
Yo.
So I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people that also haven't seen that yet, but
that was the first time I've seen that. I haven't seen it yet.
That's pretty much proof that everything we're doing on this stream right now is probably going to be obsolete in like 6 months because they are working on some really cool stuff. I mean, the fact that you can generate storyboards and everything just based off a script, like
so is that what it did
to try this stuff? Yeah, I mean, it looks like it was like import a script and generate a storyboard, and it analyzes it and puts some drawings together based on AI technology.
Oh my God.
The uses for this stuff is just so exciting, and finding, if you need, I don't know, like I could see a lot of instances where maybe B-roll isn't going to work, but it could be great for some, just like they showed here, where you need a close up of some chalky hands.
Yeah.
I do some work for a bouldering company here in Bend, and that's literally on my shot list. Chalky hand, the typical chalky hands shot,
sure.
So there's just a lot of really cool stuff coming out, and obviously I'm not an Adobe employee, but I want to applaud the team there and what's going on, because I am a video editor, and I think this stuff is really exciting. And I think what we've been talking about today with the text-based video editing, and just kind of how you can Control C and Control V on different clips here, and go through it so much quicker. That's like scratching the surface of like what's to come. And I think that was what I wanted to focus on today is what's in the pipeline. Like, what do we have to look forward to?
I have to applaud Adobe, first of all, of course, like you did, Alex, but I have to applaud you for taking us through these things and having the passion and excitement for it, because I'm equally as excited as you are. I think watching that video as editors, like, it's the purist editor in me is like, oh, why do we need AI to run our life? But then the time saving, wanting to save money, like do things in a more efficient way. I think that's the best way to put it. AI is going to completely change how we're thinking about our projects. I mean, storyboarding is not a strength of mine, but I'm still needing to create them. So how do we then save resources? And I think you saw it in this video. Like, if Firefly can do anything, it's to really, I think, speed up the workflow for editors like ourselves to continue to get as more, as creative as possible. It's amazing. It's really inspiring.
Absolutely. And I'm actually really excited for when this text-based editing is in the regular version of Premiere, because you can bounce back and forth right now, but obviously it's a little risky with beta stuff. But I can't wait just to even have this for so many use cases in video, where you just need to trim out the stuff, or you nailed a line, but it's somewhere 5 minutes into the interview. You just cut out so much wasted time.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things is this technology pushes us as editors to not be complacent with like the same method of doing things. I think it's very easy to get stuck in the way of, oh, this is how I've always done it. This is just how I'm going to continue to do it. And while that's fine because it feels comfortable, it's also important to watch videos like this to learn the new tools, because it can help your workflow and it can make you a better editor and a better creator.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The world of AI to me is a little scary, a little intimidating. But I'm also very open to it, because I think there's a lot of really cool things that are coming. And kind of as you said, you can set things up, and we can keep going our old ways, but eventually technology and things are going to evolve, and it's going to be our jobs to kind of evolve with it and figure out, okay, what is the new method of doing it? And it's just I don't think it's gonna put us out of jobs or anything like that, but I think it's gonna elevate what we're capable of in a shorter amount of time, and it's up to us to be able to work with that and change with it. And I'm personally really excited for that.
Dude, well said. If whoever's editing the cut down of this video on YouTube, just take that soundbite of Alex. I think that's a great point to end on. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add, Alex, we got about 2 minutes, so I figure we could kind of wrap up here.
No, I think just thank you to everyone who joined in, and it was really fun to kind of go over this and explore it together. It's obviously new for me as well, but it's been a lot of fun. And thanks, James, for being a host and mind reading and doing everything. So.
I didn't want to jump on what you were going to say, but I'm like, I feel like we have this connection. I can tell where you're going, and it was exciting. I mean, I was pumped to be here with you again, Alex, and looking forward to more of these sort of formats going through video editing. Thank you again. And thank you again to everybody who joined us over on Behance today. Josh, appreciate the questions. Fabiola, Sam, Paco, the whole gang. Thank you so much. And just a little housekeeping as we wrap up here. Stay tuned for a new episode of Art Battle. From the depths of the vector abyss comes two legendary vector masters. Ooh, legendary. Ready to do battle on neutral grounds. So yeah, please stay tuned for that. And again, if you are interested in being a guest on the show, you would like to submit recommendations for other creators or yourself, please do it on the Behance creative tab. We always want more creatives in this space and build this community. So Alex, thanks again, man. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.